Okay. Technology is really, really something. But anyway, I am Dr. Jacqueline King, Black Woman Empowered CEO and founder, and we are here with Dr. Alfred Smith. And today we'll be talking about Black Dad University, which is something that he created. And it's a pretty amazing. So, Dr. Smith, again, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, and it's good to see your face.
And it's good to see yours as well. So, talk about this amazing university that you started and why you started it.
Okay, so let's start with the why. Um, the why is because I felt that of of the things we could do to impact specifically Black culture, it would be to help raise our children. It would be to make our children the best that they can be. And I felt like one of the most underserved sectors of that was Black dads, because I feel like although there's a lot of things, there are definitely a lot of negative things going on, there are a lot of positive things. And rather than just talk about what's going on, the old saying, rather than just curse the darkness, I want to light a candle. So what I did then was put together an online university. We just started, and we're building it up to help Black dads to love their children, train their child, and to leave a legacy. So that, because for most Black dads, that's the greatest thing in your heart. You want to take care of your wife if you're married, whoever it is, and then your children. And I can tell you, as a Black dad, that was the most important thing on my plate. And so I know a lot of Black dads themselves may not have had a dad. So it's difficult to give what you don't have. But I can tell you now, even if you didn't have a great dad, you could be a great dad. You just need to know the principles and practice and encouragement. So that's what we do. And
Yeah,
specifically, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
something that you said when we were having the technical difficulties that resonated with me because I actually recently interviewed Dr. Matthew Knowles, Beyonce and Solange's father, and the one thing that he said that you just said was that you have to allow them to be themselves. You have to give them the tools to be able to develop into who they want to be, not who you want them to be. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct. And for a long time, it's really been hidden in scriptures. We interpreted it the wrong way because of our present thing when we were doing it. So there's a verse in Proverbs where the writer says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it." Well, when I was growing up, we were taught, or I thought that meant that if you just keep them in church, when they're old, they'll eventually come back. And I pastored for 30 years, and I found out, okay, first of all, realistically, that is not true. Just because you grow up in church, I wish they all true, but I've seen some of them leave. But here's the positive aspect, like I was saying, it's been hidden in scripture, so incredible. It's telling you, okay, so read it. If we look at it carefully, train up a child in the way he, and you can say she, should go. And the word picture of that in Proverbs, because Old Testament, a lot of words are pictures. And so when you look at that, it has to do, train up a child. The word picture is one of a tree that you're planting or a plant that you're planting that's young. And that could go any different kind of way. And he's saying you need to understand that plant, that child. And once you understand that child, then you can train, lead, coach that child in the way that child should be. Some children are super intellectual. They love reading and studying. Some children are super
Mm-hmm.
athletic. They like doing that. But our job and what we help do, because it's one thing to try to find that out, but how do I do it? So what we help do is help you find your child's gifts, their talents, some real quick, easy ways. I can give some if you want later. But
Yes,
how
yeah,
do I know?
definitely.
Okay, how do I know my child's gifts? Let me give you a quick one if you want to tramp in the way they should go. Science tells us that if a child is less than 3 or 4 years old, they'll spend 30 seconds to a minute on a project. Then they're moving and doing something else. If your child is spending an hour, 2 or 3 hours, and they're at that certain age, they're 3, 4, and 5 years old, then that might indicate that that child is super interested in that. And if you know that, now you know where to help coach that child. You know how to help that child get where they're supposed to be. I have two children, and they're radically different. They're the same, but they're different. And if I tried to raise my son the way I did my daughter, and not because they're male and female, but because they're emotionally different, then I would violate them. I wouldn't be effective. We'd both be struggling. But we are effective when we become who we already are, whoever we're called and destined to be. When we become that person, then we're proficient, we're productive, we're powerful. When we are who, so all we're helping our child to be is become who they already are. And they will always let you know by what they're doing, by how they respond to certain things, by how they act in certain environments. So we teach dad those tools, and even we teach them even personality types. Like you would discipline a strong-willed child more than you would discipline a tender child. And if you do them different, you could ruin that child if you don't understand them. But we help to understand them, you know. And none of us are perfect, but just, hey, you know, you'll notice that this child does this. That's different. And you could have two children that are the same. I mean, I'm sorry, and they're two children, but they're still different, even though they're both your children. So yeah, well, we know that we can train them up in the way they should go. Every child is unique. It's not a cookie cutter. And that's what makes parenting exciting. When I have tools to know how I can and how I should discipline, now I can just start getting into my child. I know how to encourage him, coach him. And then parenting is always going to be tough, but man, it's going to be so much more rewarding and even so much more fun when you're working with the way the child should be. We're just becoming who we already are and becoming more of that.
So let me ask you, what are the consequences of trying to make your child fit into something that they are not meant to?
Great question. There's a lot of frustration. The first thing is, Dawn, here's probably the biggest thing that I see, Jackie, in that is a loss of self-confidence. It's a constant, because if a child is in an area where they shouldn't be, they can't thrive, they don't have any strength, then they're constantly being mediocre or failing, which means they're feeling horrible about themselves. And whenever your child has a messed up self-image, they can never become who they are. And I don't care myself. I mean, there's certain things I do well and certain things I don't do well. For instance, I have a toolbox out there with a lot of tools. You better not let me near your car, though. I'm sorry. now, I want to go there because I want to pound stuff. I got tools. I'm a dude, but that's not what I do. Now, if I had to do that all day, that's not who I am. And our children then that's the biggest single problem I see is children who don't have confidence, because the way you build confidence is little wins along the way, not big ones, little wins. They can be productive at something. You encourage that. That's how you build. The reverse of that rips them apart. So it doesn't matter what they do. There's always something that they do well and some things they don't do well. All of us. But if we push them into something they shouldn't be doing, Jackie, that child always feels like they're a failure, like they're mediocre. I can give you one more story. When I started to first sing in church, I sang with a keyboard artist, a keyboardist that only knew one key, C. But I'm like, right? I'm like 13 or 14. I didn't know that. She didn't tell us. She just made us. Okay, but here's the thing. They gave me a song to lead, right? But I don't sing in C. I sing in E flat or F. I didn't know anything about that. So she starts playing. I start leading. I can't find that note nowhere. I'm all over the place. It's horrible. I hated it. And for 15 years, I would never even look at singing or a mic. Later on, I wind up singing. I don't consider myself a singer, but I do lead worship, and I have and done stuff like that. But here's my point. Early on, I thought I could not even keep a note. So my image and my confidence dropped when it came to, I don't want to even see a mic, till I met a guy later on that said, I told him my whole story, Jackie. I was like, it was so horrible. And I thought it was a painful story. I'm like, we all getting ready to cry here in a little bit, right? Because Alfred went through some stuff. I mean, I'm up there in front of people. She hit the key. I can't sing it. And he kept playing the keyboard. He was a friend of mine. He kept playing. He said, you know what, though? That's not who you are now. And he said, just sing this. And he found my key and I sang. I said, oh, I can't do it. So now, since he said that, we went on to record something. I would never record something before because my image and my confidence was so messed up. If you put a child in a place where they can't win, where they can't be victorious, where they can't get that built up, and because that has to be built up first before you start hitting a bunch of obstacles, If you take him out of that, Jackie, he's going to be self-confident. I mean, lack of self-confidence, and all of what that means, all of what that could mean for them. So our kids are perfect the way the way God made them. When I say perfect, I mean how he wanted or how they're supposed to be created. But none of us are perfect. But let's let them become who they are. Think if we were grown and people made us do something we didn't want to do. Now all of a sudden, our career is something different that we didn't ever want to do.
So
Yeah.
that's great. That's great information. So first of all, let me just regroup anyone that's just joining. I know Dejan said this is great information, and Anita says thanks for your work. So what you're telling me is that, first of all, let me ask everybody, share the broadcast. This is good information. Please share with your friends, families, coworkers. So what you're saying, what I got out of it is that even if this does happen, it can be reversed because you didn't go around thinking you couldn't sing forever, right?
Yeah. So I say tell every dad, start today. We do a lot of, I know I do. We do a lot of beating up ourselves because sometimes we find information. I know a lot of times, Jackie, I ran from information because I didn't want to find all the stuff I had done wrong. Stuff. So I didn't want to, but I want dads to know I'm not in the business of tearing down, I'm in the business of building up. And I'm in the business of sharing from this point. You start now. Your child could be 1, 2, 10, or 11. You start now. And whatever happened in the past, happened in the past. But start now with dealing with your child. And yes, anything can be reversed because it's a matter of repetition and authenticity with the child. And also, while I'm there, again, the reason I did Black Dad University is because I feel like they're the underserved sector. But that doesn't mean that our African-American, our Black sisters can't be a part of the information because we have some single moms. So it's not like Black dads exclusive of that's not it. It's Black dads because I know a lot of the fathers didn't get basic fathering information on it. But I want our sisters to know too, because one of the reasons and one of the things I will do in encouraging, one of the reasons I was drawn to you is because you were a Black CEO of an up-and-coming company. And I think it's important for us as Black males to really, it's not just it's to really understand the need for strong role models or strong women as well as men. Because what if you have a daughter? You got to teach her, you want her to be strong and independent. And so it's not a dominating thing of Black dads, not moms. It's more of if a dad is doing his job, he's encouraging and cultivating the best that child can be. And when it comes to our girls, specifically now, they need to be taught who they are. And so, and that's why I was kind of drawn to you. And that's why I'm always encouraging you or saying to you that what you are doing is important for not just yourself and what's happening with Black women, but for our culture in general. And I want our Black guys to know that strong male leadership releases female leadership. Strong male leadership is not dominating. If you're dominating, that's weak male leadership, because that means I have to control everything. But if I am leading my family and my wife in a way that we are doing this together, I'm honoring her, and I'm sorry, and then my daughter can see. If I'm treating women in a way that honors them, then my daughter already picks that up and feels honored. But if I denigrate, talk down about women, Black women, then my daughter picks that up as well. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's important that's all being part of a Black dad. I feel like there's 3 major components what make up, how a Black father. One of them is the actual parenting itself, the skills, the principles, the things we can learn. The second is my own personal growth, which is probably the biggest. Me as a dad, as a person, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm becoming better. And thirdly, my relationships, if I'm in one. All those have to do with my fathering, because my children are watching. So we kind of deal with all those as well to kind of help, because I want to encourage and speak life into our Black men, no matter where they came from. I deal with Black men on the spectrum who are very successful businessmen. They're killing it there, but they're like, I don't know how to be a dad. I want to be one. I didn't have one. I'm reading stuff, but I don't know. So I have some of those too, that they're very successful, but they just don't know that they love their children. I have some guys that has never had a dad or had abusive dads. And I've worked with them to be. So yes, we can become what we need to be. We can if we're willing to put the work in. If we're willing to put the work in.
That's awesome. So our platform is pretty large, and we actually have all races that follow us. And I'm going to just put it out there. So what do you say to the non-Black people who, because I get it, I'm sure that you get it too. Why are you just focusing on Black dads? And why am I just focusing on white Black women in power? What do you say?
Why do cancer specialists focus on cancer patients? Why don't they treat everybody? Because everybody doesn't have cancer. And if I need to be specific in what I'm doing, why are there Hispanic groups? Why are there Hispanic churches that only speak Spanish? Does that mean they're racist against everybody else? No, because they have a specific need in their community that only they can fill because they speak the language. That's all that is. Because if we stop Black Dad University tomorrow, who helps Black dads? Now, secondly, this kills me with people. Secondly, there is a dad university college thing online. It already is, but it's not specifically dealing with the African-American male who has to deal with his children about code switching and how to deal with issues in the culture that have to be done. Now, there are certain principles, Jackie, that apply to dads across the line. Discipline, building up communication, knowing your child. And I don't say a guy can't join, don't get me wrong. Anybody can join. Just know I'm going to be talking to the group that's not talked to usually, and that we have specific things that we got to talk about. So I think it's a bit hypocritical to say, not from you, but I've been asked that. And then after I explain, to still come back and say, no, there are Korean groups, there are Japanese groups. And it doesn't mean we're exclusive. It doesn't mean that we don't love other people, but we got to deal with this issue. And unapologetically, we shouldn't have to. I mean, I don't ask other cultures who speak a different language. And here's the thing. We think because we're in here together that we don't speak a different language. We do. African Americans have specific situations they got to deal with, as do our Hispanic brothers, as do our. Also, for those who are listening, I actually wrote a book based on my dissertation on multicultural churches and the need for being multicultural. So in case that's just out there with all the reasons for. So I pastored a multicultural church. That's all I would ever pastor. I want everybody in there. But I told them there when I was pastoring, that doesn't mean that there aren't unique things to deal with our Hispanic brothers. We were in California. We had a border problem. Well, that's a Hispanic problem. We need to deal with that. How do we deal with that? Well, I'm not going to deal with everybody. I'm going to deal with it. And I'm probably going to bring in a Hispanic pastor to talk their language and say what we're going to do. Does that mean we're racist? The opposite. And as a matter of fact, you know what's incredible? More than this, do you know what I get? I get thank yous from other cultures all the time. They're like, you know what? We love everybody. We know that there's a situation and we know we can't speak to it. It'll probably take a Black man to speak to it. We're glad you're doing it because you are open-minded and you're not racist. You're not exclusionary. But we're glad you're doing it because it needs to be done. I get that more than I get anything else.
Well, my following is just a little bit larger than yours, and
a little bit larger. It's a whole bunch larger. We ain't even the discussion.
So, I mean, I understand too, and I always explain. I like the way you explain that, but I always tell, we invite all women, like our sisterhood that we have now, our exclusive membership, blackwomenempowered.net. Any woman can join. We're going to be talking about issues that affect Black women. And if you're comfortable, feel free. You can come on over and join the membership. We are not saying you can't, but our issues are very different. So we have to address as it is. One of the examples is Dr. David Ajibade is now doing a 4-part series on Black women and breast cancer. And we're the ones that are dying the most from breast cancer. And there are certain triggers he's teaching that you can do health-wise to prevent it. And even after you get it, there are things that you can do. He's teaching
Awesome.
that doesn't apply to all
Awesome.
women.
Awesome.
So
And you know what?
so
And
I get it.
yeah,
I appreciate
yeah. And I,
it.
I encourage that for every culture, because this whole thing, I'm colorblind, or that's a lie. You do see color. That's why you said it. If you didn't see my color, you wouldn't say you're colorblind. Does that make sense? It only
Right.
comes up when you see color. And I won't give the history of where that phrase came from the Statue of Liberty, but there was a good point behind it, which was we want justice to be blind. But it doesn't mean we don't see culture and that our nation and our situations don't impact different cultures. Our cultures have different histories. And for me, I always encourage it. And I'm going to say this again. I encourage it unapologetically. We should not have to apologize, because then it makes it feel like we're doing something wrong. For serving the needed people, I don't care who those people are. It could be women, Hispanic, disability. It doesn't matter. They need specific things. Now, if I say to you, our Black race is better than everybody else, that's why they can't come, then maybe that's a problem. But I'm not saying that. Like you're saying, we're saying that. But we need to be able to do so, once again, unapologetically, so we can move to the point of helping the people, and whatever those people are and wherever they are. It's simply called indigenous ministry. When we used to go to other nations, indigenous meaning of that nation, if we would go to Africa and do ministry, our goal, Jackie, was not just to give them some water and help. We wanted to build something where they themselves, so we were going to plant a church, we needed an indigenous, an African pastor, because we don't speak their language and we're not going to be there with them. That's why, same thing with Black Dad University, BWE, the Hispanic Church League, whatever it is. If it's going to be effective, it can't be effective from the outside only. It's got to have somebody on the inside. So, and that's an every group. And then we can all work together. Like I meet with everybody, man. How can I help you? I got some Korean people. How can I help you? And then how can you help me? That's all good. But that doesn't mean I'm not who I am. And when I walk out into the world, no matter how much I want to think I'm still an African-American male. And I deal with all the things I deal with as everybody else. I don't mean that in a bad way, just a realistic way. But so we need to just know that we need to embrace it and deal with it. And I love that 4-part series. I'd love to do a series on women in ministry.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
No, let's phrase that. What the Bible teaches about women in ministry. And I can guarantee you'll make a lot of people mad, because this notion of women not being in ministry is not even really, truly a solid biblical principle, except in the culture. But I think it's time for guys to be involved in raising up women and training. And that's why it starts to me with a daughter. If you have a daughter, it's how you treat her when she's 1, 2, 3, what you put in her every day, all the time, so that she grows up and becomes successful like Jackie King.
There's a documentary out there. Thank you, dear. There's a documentary out there that's called "What Manner of Woman," and it's one of my favorites. You got to look at it, and I would encourage everybody. And so it's about Black women in the churches. And my friend, I call him my friend, who I've interviewed several times, Dr. Frederick Haynes III, a brilliant man out of Dallas, Texas. He said that, he says on there that, he said, if all the women were to leave the church, he said, I would say, farewell, my brothers, I'm out of here, because he said the women are the church. Yeah. And every church. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
What did you say?
No,
I said that.
I'm a follower.
I'm saying that women are the church, because it's the truth. Every church that you go in, just about the women are doing everything. Everything. Raising the money, baking the cookies, the food drives, the building fund, the praying over the lost soul, everything. So, but that's like one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and I would encourage. As a matter of fact, I'll post it. But let's get back on to Black Dad University, because we kind of got off a little bit. So what is it? How is it that you help the men? What ways do you feel that you're the most effective? Or in the university?
I create a platform, and you can sign up for it. You can get a free 14-day trial, and every week something comes out. A short teaching video. Then there's some practical points for you to use, and then we have a membership time. So, and you can pay for the year, you can pay for the month, but it comes to you, to your email box, and you get to do it at your own level and own pace. You can try it out free, of course. And what's great about this is you can do it on your phone. You can do it wherever you are, whenever you are. It's not going to take you long. But also because I usually add a to-do, like a how can I implement this, like practical steps. You can have those on your phone as well and just keep them, not just for that one time. So that's the format that we use. That way guys can get it from wherever they want. The lessons aren't long. They're like 8 to 10 minutes every week, if that long, because you can kind of get what you got to get in there in that time. And so that's what we're doing, and covering different topics. Now, I encourage men to, info at Black Dad University. Let me know what's on your heart. I don't want to just teach topics I want to meet the needs of guys where they are. And so I'm always open to that encouragement, things we can talk about. We are going to, a couple of weeks, we're going to be going on a platform called Clubhouse. Yeah, just
I'm just laughing. I'm on Clubhouse.
Okay, talk to some guys, hear their heart. I want to hear their stories. I taught for 30 years. I want to listen now. I want to hear the stories, because I think sometimes we, as educators, or even as churches, we answer questions that people aren't asking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we answer the questions we want, but they don't have those. You're like, thank you for that, but my issue is really over here. I know a lot of guys that are about 40% of the guys that I've talked to struggle with self-care or time. How do I, when I'm working and my kids, how do I find time for myself? And is that always wrong? How do I do that? And then how do I, with the children, those are very serious questions that we talk about in it. So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but that's what we're trying. That's what we are doing there. And it's always evolving. I think the biggest challenge is getting guys to invest in themselves. I can't say invest because it's like $97 for the whole entire year. That's 3 or 4 pizzas, but it's hard for guys. I'm saying for them to see that value in themselves. I think John Maxwell said, if I see value in myself, then I will add value to myself. And I want them to know you have value. You are the purveyors of the next generation. But you need to invest in yourself. If you don't, nothing's ever going to change. Whatever is important to you, you invest in. And because here's what Jesus said, we teach this, but listen to what he said. Jesus said, where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be. He did not say where your heart is, your treasure will follow. He did not say that. He said where your treasure is. That's really deep, because he's saying I can direct my heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I want my heart, meaning my passion, what's important, I need to invest in it, and then it becomes important to me as well. Jesus said, and that's really deep. Jesus is deep on that. Because I would have thought where your heart is, your money will follow. He said, no, you put your money where you need it to be, and your heart will follow. That's an incredible concept. So it is.
It really is.
Yeah. And so I tell guys, invest in what's important to you. What's important to you? Let's talk about that. If your child is, and to raise him in the way, then what investments are you making there? Money's a small one. Time. I tell guys, dude, when it's all said and done, those toys will break. Everything you bought them will go away.
They'll get tired of them.
Hey, I have children that are both are in their 30s, and we talk a lot, and the memories that they have, 90% of them are time spent with them. Just time spent, jokes made, goofy stuff happening, things you just sharing. And I tell guys, you don't need a whole bunch of money. You can have that, and you should use it but don't let money not either stop you, but also don't let it block you from being with your kids by using it as a tool. I know a lot of successful guys, and they just buy their kids a lot of stuff, but they won't spend time with them. I'm saying you can do both. You can do both. I know guys that think so. Yes, I really do believe that we're raising there's a generation of guys growing up now that are saying my child is not going that route. They're going to grow. I'm gonna give them every chance I can. I'm gonna tell them every day that they're called to do something great. And when it gets in their mind and they start to think like that, by the way, if you really want to know the success of the Jewish nation, why they have won more what is it, Nobel Peace Prizes, Hollywood actor, whatever it is. I don't have all the stats, but I hope this doesn't break the internet and get all mad. It's not because they were chosen by God. It's not why. Because their brain cells aren't any different. Do you know what's different? The Jewish child has a history that starts when he gets born, and when he drops out of his mother's womb, they tell him, you are chosen by God. You will rule and lead, not because it's predestined for you. So when they go to school with us, it's not smarter, but their mindset's different. What if that mindset was in our child? You're not here to just be successful. To be popular. You're here to lead and rule. And I'm the rule other, but you're here to lead. You're here to be who you're called to be. If that's all that's in your mind, then that's all they think. And that's what happens with the Jewish nation, which I love about them. They do that. Mormons do it as well. They have a nightly ritual, and they go over their thing and they remind their children. Our children need to know not only where we came from, but who they are and what they're destined or what they can become with some hard work, with some grit. But it's a mind thing. It's when you can talk to certain people and they just, of course, the reason I'm successful is because I'm supposed to be. I don't even have a choice. I was called to. Well, our children need to be in that same mindset. Then add the work to it. Finding what is they do well and as they're growing, and then say, hey, now we teach resilience. Now we teach overcoming art. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you're getting them when they're fathers. Why can't we start with the kids?
What do you mean?
You just said when they're born. Yeah, when they're born, the Jews teach their kids that they're destined for greatness, so to speak. Why do we have to start with these grown men? Why can't we start with the kids? Why? I mean, because you're kind of. Yes.
Yeah.
The boys or the girls.
Yeah. No.
Huh?
My goal is to teach the Black men how to teach that to their children, male or female. Like, we're grown now, right? But I have grandchildren and stuff like that, and that's why I'm trying to teach our people to say to their children, to get into their children. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying, but here's my thing. We need everybody. Every Black male is not going to get it. Why can't we have a Black Boys Academy that will start them off before their fathers? That's what I'm saying.
I think that's an incredible idea. And I think that's an incredible idea. And that takes focus, but I think that's great. Because you have to get them. I got people in family who are educators that teach in school. You got to get them before a certain age. I would love that, Jackie. I think that's another part of perpetuating what they're being taught. They need to have something that's enforced in their social circles as well. I think that's a great idea. And I keep saying, with Black dads, I really want to emphasize to our sisters, and this because sometimes in religious,
and I'm sorry, I said academy again. It's university.
Oh, okay. That's all right. I just I feel like it's important that sometimes in kind of religious environments, there's this men over women dominating. There's this. So we start talking about men, we think we're only talking about men. In one sense, parenting. And so if you are a single parent, but whether it's a boy or a girl, we have to be more inclusive. That's why I'm saying when I say inclusive, I mean of who needs help in the Black community. And I'll help anybody. I speak at white churches, Black, I'm not churches, but so much, but I speak at events and stuff that are not Black, and I still talk about sometimes just parenting. I'll talk about Black dad, but some stuff is just parenting in general, male or female. But if I can just get our parents, us, to invest that time to become all we can be, let's become the best parent. It won't take you but 20 minutes a week. I mean, it's not that, but it's hard to get people to invest that time just because I don't think that they know they're worth that, or you are worth that because you are the ones that's helping everybody else you're trying to help. If you're messed up, you can't help your child, your wife, your husband, nobody. So we got to get you solid so that you can serve and help children, everybody else for it. But I think that's
Yeah.
a great idea. That boys academy, or you know what, any academy, but specifically that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so I'll wait for you to start that.
You like that pregnant pause there because it was coming your direction. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. We'll be back, everybody. We'll be back once he launches the Black Boys Academy. And
That's called leadership, huh, Jackie? That's delegating. You just delegated. That's good leadership. That's right.
you already know. But this is great. This is great. Here's one of the things that always concerned me because I'm from New Jersey, and actually I used to do recruiting in Newark and some of the worst schools in the United States, actually. And
Mhm.
so
Okay.
the problem, one of the problems is, like you say, the fathers are not there. And if they are there, a lot of them are working maybe 2 and 3 jobs. And so when do you have this time to invest? How do you make this time if you really don't have the time? Because if you're working 3 jobs, when you get home, all you want to do is see your bed.
Yeah. So a couple things. That's a good point. I'm gonna back up. I'm not sure if I said I didn't mean to say this. My impetus is not that Black dads aren't involved enough. That's not my point. Really. My point really is, yeah, they're not involved. But my point is, how do we get them involved, and how do we train them to become all they can be? If you're working 3 jobs, if you have children, you still have children. Now, when most people aren't working 3 jobs, most of us, and when I say time, I mean 10 to 15 minutes. Wait a minute, it's not a day, that's a week. The videos come a week, that's 10 minutes a week. That's bathroom. I'm not trying to be graphic, but that's bathroom. You can take care of that when you go to the bathroom, 10 minutes. Secondly, the issue is never time. The issue is always priority. It's never time. People say, I don't have time. Yes, you do. We have 24 hours a day, 168 hours a week. Whether you're Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Alfred Smith, Jacqueline King, we all get the same amount of time. So we all have time. It's where we choose to put it. Now, if you work in 3 jobs and you don't have any time but to go to sleep, I'd be concerned about your relationship as well, your wife and your husband and child. Because I would say if you got 3 jobs, do you really need 3? Because you're sacrificing something that might be more important to you later. But I don't think that's where most guys are. I think most guys understand the investment. So here you go. Here's your investment. One time a week, 10 minutes. And then with your child, it's see, once you get the information, it'll just be as you're doing it anyway. So that's what I'm saying is invest some time in your personal growth to tell yourself that you're valuable and to get the tools you need. And then with your children, that's as you invest. That's as time that you have. But I can tell dads this: the greatest times you will have with your child are serendipity, meaning not planned. Meaning we aren't on no Disney vacation. We ain't going, we just at the house, or we just out here doing this, or this happened. Take the moments that you can get. I tell dads this: you have to correct your child, but you sometimes have to catch them doing something right. And that's that, you watch you did that good. You see what I'm saying? And because statistically, a child needs to hear 5 to 6 positive interactions to every one negative to be healthy emotionally. That's a child, that's an adult. So, but sometimes
Wow.
children, they can go stretches where they ain't giving you much to, but just catch them doing something good. That's an investment, but it takes you seconds. But that will build them and everything like that. So the investment it's all about priority. And again, if you don't have the time because you're doing 3 jobs, then brother, I want to talk to you because how are you doing physically, emotionally, and then everything else. But that's not most guys. I think most guys just don't know what that investment is. And I know when I was a dad, Jackie, I was thinking I got to plan an activity. I got to do something hunting or camping, but I missed the moments. Like Deuteronomy said, teach them when they're going up, when they're laying down, when they're going by. He wasn't saying constantly be in their ear. He was saying take opportunities as they come. But the investment to a dad, I don't know a man on earth that doesn't have 20 or 30 minutes a week if it's not important to them, because something else can do. I mean, you know what? When I started to go to school to get my doctorate and I was full-time pastor, I didn't have time. So I had to get up an hour earlier. Actually, my 2 hours earlier, because that was important to me for that time. But 20 minutes, that's what I'm giving you, 8 minutes, actually, 10 minutes, that's bathroom time.
Just want to give a quick shout out because we have Dejan. We have a couple brothers on, I believe Dejan and Reggie. Thank you so much, guys. Can you please share the broadcast, share it, copy the link, and share it on your pages? We want to reach as many brothers and sisters, because the sisters can also share with their husbands, spouses, or significant others.
Yeah,
And absolutely. So do you allow women to take your course, Black Dads University?
Absolutely. Okay, so it's to train to help people. This is not a separatist men over women. It's not that. It's just that I got to talk to dads a certain way. I would love to have a Black mom university if that's necessary. And
okay, so now you got two more to start.
Oh, you know what? You're going too far with this delegate. You leading too hard. Brother, you got 2 more jobs. No, you know what though? No, I thought about that because I feel like, because I'm just being honest, because men in general, not just Black men in general, maybe mostly more white men than Black men, have been such the purveyors of what happened to Black women or to women and are still happening to them, that we need to be a part of the healing. So my thing is like, and I feel like it needs to come from men and some parts of it, and hear them and then share what's on the heart, because we're supposed to be one. We are one. You know, if you're parenting, then you're one. So yes, women can join. Please join. You are more than welcome to join. And I said to one guy said, well, then it was so funny, Jack, because he said, well, I thought it was just for men. I said, did you join yet? No. So like I said to the women, all of this is because and now we're back to the church. If you study church history, this is not even a discussion. Almost every church was worked out by a woman, but we won't go back there. Because I don't think it should be better. We all have roles, men and women, but just that I feel like women have not had their expression. That's a different thing. So yes, that's, women can join. I love my sisters. If you're a single mom, you're still or if you're a mom in general, if you want information, get the information. I just targeted the group that I feel is least served. But the information is for everybody.
And for our queens on blackwomenempower.net, Dr. Smith is going to do a 4-part series for us. He's already committed.
I did ask, huh?
Yes, he did. He committed.
Ooh, Jackie. You know,
he committed
thing or something? You're just in rare form this morning. you just kicking stuff off of you to me, like.
You should know me. I'm always in. You know me well.
That's very good leadership, though. No, that's very good, and we do need to do those things. And with me, you do gotta lock me down. But you know what? If I'm being very honest, do you know what the platform I would really love? I'd like a Q&A. I would like for because sometimes I feel like, again, we answer questions that people don't really have, and the ones they have, they're maybe afraid to ask. I'm the guy that has no affiliation anymore. I'll answer any question, doesn't matter. I don't have no.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do a Zoom, and we'll have people register, and only 100 people can get on. So they'll register, and they can come and ask you any questions that they want. How about that?
Perfect. Bible things, whatever. Parenting things.
I'm going to set that up
for the answer. I'm just telling you now.
Well, they won't. Only thing they can do is they can shut off the Zoom. If they don't want to hear it, they can cut it off.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. That sounded wrong. But okay, Jackie, we probably need to close this. I already got 3 jobs, so I don't know.
I'm not fooling with you.
I'm on here. I ain't gonna have nothing to do, but I ain't gonna say no more ideas. I ain't saying nothing else. I shared.
Gotta love him. Dr. Smith is I call him my big little brother. So if y'all know, that's why we cut up and laugh like this, because I'm older than he is, but he's bigger than I am. So he's my big little brother.
Fair enough. I'll take that. I will take that.
He's taller than I am. So anyway, I hope that we have helped someone today. We knew we were going to have a good time anyway when we put this together. So Dr. Smith, tell them how they can contact you, how they can sign up, all that good information.
info@blackdaduniversity.com. If you right there, you will know everything. If you want to go directly to the site, it's blackdaduniversity.com. So they're the same name, blackdaduniversity.com, all one word. And my email is info@blackdaduniversity.com. If you go on blackdaduniversity.com, and by the way, this is not a finished project. I want people to be involved in the creation of this. This is not something that, that I've made up and it's all mine. It's not that, it's for us. And so I'm so open and welcome, to say, hey, bro, what about this topic? Or I've been listening, kind of thing. So yeah, so you can do it that way. They can also get a 14-day free trial too.
Okay, so Emily Elaine Meeks, bless you, Queen. She says, I know this is targeted for the Black community, which is wonderful. I just want to say how helpful this is for all single mothers out there in need of love and support. Isn't that nice? Thank you,
Emily. Come on, blackdaduniversity.com and get the stuff. I'm sorry. And see, my thing is like, because I had guys, but that's still that exclusive keeping out. No, we're not doing that. That's not this thing. So if you need help, absolutely. Or if you want the information, I'm not saying no, I don't care what color, race, whatever. Again, multicultural church pastor, a book on it. And it's called The Mac Church. Not Mac like computer, but Mac meaning Mixed American Culture Church. The Mac, you can get it on Amazon. Just so, I'm not trying to sell that book. I'm trying to.
No, you can go ahead. Go ahead and put it out there.
Yeah. No, but I'm just trying to lay the groundwork for the fact I've already proven I'm not like exclusionary, although I'm not apologetic about it. But if you want, I love helping people. I don't care who you are, married, single. Yeah, I love helping people. So please, you are.
He really does.
Yeah. So yes, everybody get the information.
And Novia, and I can't say the last name, she says thank you, and she actually posted the link, blackdaduniversity.com. Thank you so much. We have some of the best loyal fans ever. BWE is blessed, really blessed, and I thank you. You guys, I always say I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. The queens, I still say you need to join the sisterhood. It's exclusive. It's private. You can share your business, your blogs, your whatever you're working on, and then get support from other queens. It's blackwomenempowered.net. We have been very successful in women joining, and I really want to meet you. Awesome. You get to talk to me one-on-one. You get to meet, we have doctors, we have attorneys, we've got psychologists, just a wealth of knowledge. Awesome. And if somebody can post that for me, blackwomenempowered.net, if someone can type that in the comments, I would really appreciate that. But I want the queens to come over there and join. The membership is I say it's a hairdo. I mean, because I know some women that spend a lot of money on hair. And so I'm telling you.
I'm not commenting on that.
I'm telling you, okay. They spend upward of 100 and up, and the membership, it is not going to stay that price forever. So you need to get on and join now while the prices are reasonable. Because when we have 1 million, when we get to 1 million followers, let me tell you, it will not be at that price. Thank you so much again. Absolutely. I love you. What's that?
Oh, real quick, let me say this to the guys out there too. It's important for us guys too. You post about Black women empowered, build up our sisters, our queens, and then we help build each other up. But I'm so proud of you, Jackie, for doing this because, you say it in passing, Black women, but you've been doing this for a long time. And
10 years in November.
Yeah.
Our 10-year anniversary.
And a bunch of hurdles.
Yes.
And a bunch of times people fight you, and a bunch of times you couldn't give up. You could have gave up and said, forget it, but you didn't. So I think guys need to, if nothing else, just for that part of it, but for what you're doing for us, I'm encouraging guys too. Let's not make this we're not doing this, we're doing this. You know, we just come from different aspects. So I'm very proud of you, and I definitely think everybody should post that and help.
All right, I still haven't seen anybody post it, blackwomanempowered.net. I'm waiting for you to post it in the comments. I'll go back and post it, but I want you to post it. Thank you, queens. I love you, kings. Dr. Smith, you've been wonderful as always, and we'll have to do it again.
Sure.
We'll do it again. God bless you until the next time.
Okay, have a great day.